So after years of waiting, Killing Floor 3 has finally been announced. In this video we'll go over all the details we know about Killing Floor 3 so far, and at the end I'll speculate when we could see a release date. Hey guys, this is Chris with BMB Gaming. Welcome back, and I hope you're doing amazing today. Thank you guys all for your likes, your shares, your comments, all your support, and if you're new here and you're interested in Killing Floor 3, hit that subscribe button for more content. Now to start out with guys, I've broken down all the information we know about Killing Floor 3 right now into different categories. The first category, the theme of the game or the tone of the game. To start with, in the description on Steam it says, the game Killing Floor 3 is set in the year 2091, 70 years after the events of Killing Floor 2. In this dystopian future, a megacorporation known as Horzine has created an army of bioengineered monsters called Zeds. The player is part of a rebel group called Nightfall, which stands against the Zeds and fights for the future of humanity. So a couple key points here. The first point is that it's 70 years after the events of Killing Floor 2. The big question is Mr. Foster, Mrs. Foster, Reverend Albert, etc. in Killing Floor 3? The obvious answer would be no. However, this is the Killing Floor universe where pretty much anything is possible. So who knows? Maybe they found Patriarch's cloning facility and were cloned. Maybe Hans captured them and turned them into cyborgs. Or maybe Santa Claus turned them into elves and now they're immortal. The second key takeaway is that we're no longer working for Horzine as mercenaries. We're now part of a rebel group called Nightfall. As far as the overall tone of the game, the creative director, I believe it's Brian Wynea, talked about the overall tone of the game in the making of the monster documentary that accompanied the announcement trailer.
Killing Floor 3, we're kind of grounding it in a little bit more action horror. It's set in a near future with a heavy dose of dystopia behind it. So it's a little bit darker, a little bit more serious, a little bit more intense.
In a written interview, the creative director said, the third installment is a direct sequel, so a direct sequel to Killing Floor 1, in the sense that it carries the darker, grittier tone that the first game has, while it still gives opportunities to try different things. He went on to use Batman as an analogy, saying that Tripwire compares the game to the comic book character. For Killing Floor 3, he said, we're trying to treat it a little more like Christopher Nolan's Batman, really pulling in those horror roots.
I'm Batman.
As far as weapons go, stressed in an interview that the game will have guns that don't exist in the real world, but they're not sci-fi guns. They're guns that could exist 7 years from now, grounded in reality. Now the interesting thing here is he goes on and says that they're going to be like Killing Floor 2. I guess some people would argue that some of the weapons in Killing Floor 2 are maybe a little too sci-fi at this point. I'm assuming that with the launch of Killing Floor 3, they're going to pull that back a little bit and make sure they're grounded more in the Killing Floor universe. Another thing that points to what they're really going for with Killing Floor 3 as far as the tone and theme of the game is that the developers describe it as a gruesome graphical vision. Now, when I first looked at this, I thought graphical, so that means massive pools of blood and chunks flying everywhere, etc., which I think they confirm in the announcement trailer. However, I do think this is also reinforcing the idea of a darker, more action horror focus of the game. The next category, gameplay. The first thing they've confirmed is that Killing Floor 3 is going to continue with the 6-player co-op lobbies. Another bit of information they've given us is that they're working to bring forward different popular maps and weapons. In an interview, the creative director was asked what was the priority when considering what fans want out of Killing Floor 3. Here he responded and said, thought about things that I would like to see as a fan himself. The article goes on and says developers looked at what players were interacting with the most, from the most popular maps to weapons. The devs are striving to give us a classic survival experience that we love and know. When asked about weapon design, the creative director gave Killing Floor 2 as an example, saying that it has guns that don't exist, but they still feel impactful. For Killing Floor 3, Tripwire wants a similar vibe, where players have a lot of choices, like with their weapons, but still feel an unbreakable immersion that requires some grounding in reality. As far as the enemies that have been confirmed so far, we can see from the concept art from the making of the monster documentary that the flesh pounds, husks, cysts, and crawlers are all accounted for. And finally, with gameplay, again they reiterated that it's being developed on Unreal Engine 5. As far as the developers go, from everything I read, the only development team that is mentioned is Tripwire Interactive, so there's no mention of Saber Interactive. For a lot of people in the community, that's a big bonus. Personally, I don't have any issue with Saber, but some people feel like Saber Interactive has kind of not done a good job updating the game. Again, I'm not one of them, but for a lot of people, just having Tripwire developing this game is a big plus. Now, a big question you might have is, in the announcement trailer, we see Hydra Studios. Who exactly is Hydra Studios? I looked it up and it says Hydra Studios is a company that specializes in creating high-end cinematic content. They produce a wide range of CGI animations, from photorealistic character performances to stylized action. So essentially, they're just the team that worked on the trailer. They don't have anything to do with the development of the game. And again, just to note, it is an Unreal Engine 5 game, and it has been confirmed for Xbox Series X and S, PS5, and of course is coming to PC. The great news is it's coming to Epic Games Store and Steam, so there's no exclusivity deals. The next category, Games as a Service. In an interview, they asked the creative director about the future of the game and monetization. Here he responded and stressed that the developers want to learn from some of the things that players are enjoying right now and avoid Killing Floor 3 becoming pay to win. It goes on and says Tripwire wants microtransactions to stay a cosmetic-only driven system, citing how well bigger features being free is working in the second game. When you look at how we've updated Killing Floor 2, there have been a lot of items like maps that have been free. The article continues and it says the creative director clarified that it's still early in development, so we're still figuring out our monetization plan. He also stated that they want to do something that is classic Killing Floor and elevate what Games as a Service is. He concludes and says they want any monetization strategy to fit their brand and their franchise. The next category, new features. The first thing we see, I believe, in the trailer here is executions. It's pretty obvious. We can see the knife going through the Zed's head. How they'll incorporate that into Killing Floor, I don't really know. My guess is maybe they'll do it in Zed time, because Killing Floor being such a fast game, it doesn't make a lot of sense that there would be executions all over the place because it would slow it down. I guess we'll have to wait and see. The second new feature is obviously the Zeds have gotten cybernetic upgrades. We can see the Flesh Pound, or maybe it's a King Flesh Pound. We can also see the other Zed has, eyes that are flickering on and off as you're shanking them in the head. The next category, potential new features. Full disclaimer, these are speculations on my part. I will try and give you the reasons why I think these are possible. The first thing is crossplay. The reason I think this is very possible, it's one if not the highest request for Killing Floor 2. The second reason is that both of Tripwire's recent games, Chivalry 2 and Deceived Inc., both have crossplay across console and PC. Another new feature, and this you might want to take with a grain of salt, but I think we're going to get both slide and strafe in Killing Floor 3. The reason I think this is possible is because of the announcement trailer with the upgraded version of the Flesh Pound. Obviously, he's got massive reach here, which it wouldn't make any sense. Why would he have this reach if we can't get out of the way of the reach? So probably a strafe feature like Doom Eternal. Another potential feature, and this is probably stretching it pretty far, so take this with a dumpster full of salt. In the description of the game, it says Killing Floor 3 is a co-op action horror first-person shooter that allows players to team up with up to 5 others to battle waves of Zeds, earn money, unlock skills, and build their arsenals. Now, again, this might be far-fetched, but are they alluding to some kind of weapon unlock system here? So maybe you reach level 15 Gunslinger, for example, and then you unlock the Deagles. Again, pure speculation on my part, but who knows? The final category, release date speculation. So as of this recording, we don't have a release date or a release date window. So I believe the target is fall 2024 or early 2025. The first reason I think this is the plan is Killing Floor 2's content runs through 2023. My guess is it's going to be renewed for 2024. Maybe we'll get a summer and a Halloween update leading to Killing Floor 3. The second reason I think this is the plan is that's generally what Tripwire has done with their other games. So for example, with Maneater, they first announced it on December 13th, 2018. They then announced a release date a year later on December 1st, 2019, and it came out 5 months later on May 22nd, 2020. They also did the same thing with their most recent game, Deceived Inc., where they announced it on March 16th, 2022, and it came out a year later on March 21st, 2023. So what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Are you hyped up for Killing Floor 3? What features do you want to see most? For me, I'm super hyped up for Killing Floor 3. I've waited for this game for like 3 or 4 years now. I think poor Killing Floor 2 is kind of like one of those Zeds that's got its leg shot off and it's like crawling on the ground trying to get you. I think that's what Killing Floor 2 is at this point. As far as what I expect from Killing Floor 3, I think for sure we're going to get crossplay. I'd love to see the community maps on console. I'd also like to see some kind of deeper progression, maybe some kind of weapon unlock system, weapon customization, so choose your scopes, laser sights, extended mags, stocks, etc. would be awesome. I think it would be a lot of fun. Along with that, I'd also like to see more prestige levels, so this time around their prestige is baked into the game, and this is going to be controversial, but I would like to see some kind of small gameplay bonus for prestiging this time. Maybe you get a little more ammo, maybe you get some kind of special attachment. We'll have to wait and see.